I've set up a sandbox so that I can safely run suspicious software or malware and then observe its behavior on the network and on the computer that it's running on. In this sandbox, I have two virtual machines, a Windows 7 virtual machine with some malware and some monitoring tools, and I have an Ubuntu virtual machine over here running INETSIM, which is a network services simulator, and it simulates many well-known servers like DNS server, HTTP server, HTTPS server, mail server, FTP server, etc. Now, the two virtual machines have been configured on an internal network only, so they can only communicate with each other. They're not able to reach the internet or communicate with the host computer's NIC or talk to any other computers on the network. So this adds a layer of safety by running the malware in a virtual machine when having the virtual machine sandboxed away from the rest of the network. Now, to do this, I need to be able to communicate between the two devices. So I've already set up static IP addresses on both machines. And now I can run the malware. Now, there are sandboxes that are pre-set up, and there's also software that you can run that will automate this process. There's also websites that you can submit malware to and get a report. In this case, I've got a few tools here that I'll run manually and then try to analyze the results myself. So the first tool I'm going to run is Apate DNS, which is a DNS redirector, which will take any DNS queries coming from this machine and then redirect them to an IP address of my choice. So I will put in the IP address of the Ubuntu machine and start the server. The next tool that I'll launch is Process Monitor. I'll run that as an administrator. And Process Monitor can be configured to capture events, and hopefully it will let us know when our malware is running and the type of process IDs and the operations and paths that it runs. So we'll see if that, I'll minimize that. I'll also run Process Explorer. Redshot is a registry snapshot tool that you can run, and what you can do is you can take a snapshot of your registry before and after you've launched the suspicious code or the malware. So I'll run the first snapshot, and it'll take a minute because it has to get a snapshot of the entire registry. Okay, the registry snapshot's complete. I'll also launch Wireshark, and I'll go to Capture Options, select my local area connection, and click Start to start a packet capture in Wireshark. Okay, now that I have all of these tools running, I can launch the malware and then observe how it behaves on the computer. So I'll double-click on this malware. I've set this malware into compatibility mode to run also as an administrator and as a Windows XP Service Pack 2 program. So I'll launch the malware. Now that it's run, what I can do is I can filter events on Process Monitor for this tool. And it's malware 1-2.exe. So I'll go to Process Monitor, Filter, and then Filter, and change it from architecture to process name, and put in the name of the malware, which is 1-2.exe, add it, and then click OK, and it should filter for events related to malware 1-2.exe. And you can see here the process start, thread create, and you can see that it's running. It's a 32-bit software running on a 64-bit platform, and you can see that it has executed here. I can also use Process Explorer to track the process and drill in deeper to see the types of targets and actions that the process is taking. Now that the malware has been run, I'll do the second snapshot on the registry and then compare the differences from before and after. And it should let me know what has changed in the registry, if any values have been added or changed. While this is running, I can open up Wireshark and you can see that there has been some action here. Now, this communication that's been happening across Wireshark may or may not be generated from the malware. Although down here you can see that 10.100 has been communicating to 10.200. So that'll be interesting, and we'll have to examine that more closely. Notice that port 443 response from 200 to 100, and from here, so it looks like something was communicating with the HTTPS server on the Ubuntu virtual machine. I'll stop the packet capture. Okay, the second snapshot of the registry snapshot tool is finished, so I can click the compare button and compare any differences from before and after the malware was run. So from the registry snapshot comparison, we can see that 2 keys were added, and it looks like a service was added to the machine called malservice. So this would be a good starting point to search to see what is this service that was created on the computer and what is it doing.